2. Can you believe it? It's the 110th episode of Wayne's World and Kelly. And I'm going to start off with a somber little couple seconds, and then we're going to go have a great time. But today is September 11th, and fortunately for you 3 guests of ours who we'll introduce in a moment, you probably have all you know is the historical knowledge of it. Wayne and I lived through it, and what a lot of people in my circle know, that Bob Email was a friend of mine who was in the Pentagon, who had served in the military, was shot down in Vietnam, survived, and then was killed that day. And then Charles Burlingame III, who we call Chick, I worked with his father, and Chick became a good friend of mine, and he was the pilot for flights, I guess, 77 that hit the Pentagon. So, it was such a horrendous day. And I posted on Facebook, never forget, and we mean it. I mean, it was such a terrible thing to go through. Everybody knows where they were. I ended up going to Disney World to pick up my now ex-wife and my daughter, who was a baby. And I drove down 95 south, and I saw 2 planes the entire time. And I've done Virginia to Florida a million times, exaggerating. And there's always planes in the air. You always see the planes. And I think I was over South Carolina, and I saw 2 F-16s or 2 F-18s fly over 95, and that was it. But because of a lot of reasons, I went and picked up my wife and daughter at Disney World because the world stopped, and it was just horrendous. But for anybody who is of your generation, read about it, learn about it, and become very familiar with that tragic day. And then unfortunately for Wayne and I and millions of others, we actually lived it. So, we still honor the families, and we just have to remember that as great as our life is in the United States, there are people that want to take it away, inside and outside. And that was just terrible. So I hate talking about that. So let's talk about the fun stuff. So Wayne, do you want to go ahead and kick it off? I think you had a couple thoughts how you wanted to start this show. So go rock on.
I'd like the 3 guests to introduce themselves. We have Brooke and Brandi Cavinder, family-owned Southwest Elevator Company. We have Megan Merlo also. She has elevator lineage and background, also works for them. So one at a time, I guess we'll start with Brooke. Brooke, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Awesome. So yeah, I'm Brooke Cavinder. I'm the oldest sister actually out of the Cavinder girls. So we have Brandi on here, but there's 3 more of us. So there's 5 total. So oldest sister, been in the family business for about 2 years now. Live here in South Florida, 27 years old. And I'm the business development manager for the Miami portion of our market.
Awesome. Brandi.
You're also in Texas and Arizona?
Not in Arizona. They're in Nevada, Texas, and Florida.
We're from Arizona.
We were in Arizona.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Brandi Cavinder. I'm the
Before you start, let's just clarify that Wayne was wrong and Kelly was right. Okay, go ahead, Brandi.
Yes.
I'm Brandi Cavinder. I'm 25 years old. From Arizona. I only moved to South Florida about 6 months ago, and that's when I joined the family company, and I'm business development for Broward County.
Awesome. Megan.
So I am Megan Merlo. I have been in the elevator industry for about 4 years now. I do business development as well for the Palm Beach area. And just like Brandi and Brooke, I come from an elevator background. My dad owns an elevator company up north. I know we spoke about this. We kind of went back and forth in my 2nd generation, 3rd generation. My grandfather and my dad had started their company together. So, so I've been around elevators my entire life, just like Brandi and Brooke.
So speak a little bit on the generational part, ladies. We have 4 generations on this podcast. We got Kelly as a baby boomer, me as an Xer. We got millennials, and we have Gen Z. So I met all of you at a trade show as business development representatives. So at trade shows and industry functions, you all have a good idea of what it's like to interact with with everybody of every generation. So tell me some of the generational stereotypes that you might be facing when you are talking to people of a different generation. For example, as a Gen Xer, when I was right out of college, I was branded as a slacker. Okay. And, that really rubbed me the wrong way because, I'm working 10, 12-hour days trying to get a start in my life and doing whatever it takes. Okay. And it's the same with my college crowd. We're all busting our butts every day working. All right. And one thing I have noticed when the market has kind of transitioned over to millennials entering in, I got to be honest with you. I didn't see these, millennials just sitting, drinking lattes and eating avocado toast, man. They were out there working hard and everything. And I'm seeing the same thing with Gen Z. Tell me what you ladies have been facing, if anything, out there when you're talking to people of different generations.
Yeah, I can start. I think, yeah, being millennials, Megan and I are obviously millennials, and then Brandy is a Gen Z. I think you get the stereotype of, oh, they don't want to work, or
Yep.
TikTok and technology, that's all they care about, and blah blah blah. I will say,
TikTok.
I think there is some of that. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
I think personally, it's based on how you're raised and like who brought you, your parents and what you kind of experienced. That kind of shapes you, not your millennial or Gen Z or whatever it is. So fortunately, Megan, Brandy, and I all come from hardworking families that grew businesses, and I think they instilled that in us. None of us were handed anything. Me and Brandy, I can kind of go into ours. So before we were even allowed to work for the family company, we had to have like a resume of 5 years of experience in a different company. So, we really worked to be able to get in this business along with Megan. Like, she worked for her father, worked very hard, to get where she's at now. So there is still that stereotype when you go to these events and you're talking to the older generations, they probably look at you as, oh, you're young, you don't know anything, you're handed everything, your dad owns the company. And when we talk to people, it's like, no, I go through what I had to do to be able to get to the family company. So again, I think that's based on how you're raised, not your Gen Z stereotype. And I think people should start to look at that a little bit differently, but that's my sense on it for my 2 cents.
Brandy, how about you?
I mean, she kind of touched on it all, but same base. I mean, we grew up the same. You had to have work experience somewhere else before you could come into the company. I had a medical background, so kind of touching on that, being really young, working around, doctors and people in that generation who kind of have like a God complex. I feel like you're really judged until you prove yourself. And then once you prove yourself, it really opens a lot more doors for you. But just, keeping your head down and realizing that that's how they're going to see you for a while until you prove yourself, and then it goes away.
Right. Megan, how about you?
Yeah, so pretty much I could agree again with Brooke and Brandy as well. Just like Brooke had mentioned, where her father had the girls pretty much start in a lower position, not everything was kind of handed to them. It was very similar for me when I was working for my dad. Actually worked with my dad when I was in college. So he had me kind of just putting some proposals together, doing some more admin work and understanding more the accounting side of things too. So I could really get a grasp a little bit of not only his company, but the industry as a whole, ordering materials with suppliers. So just understanding kind of what goes into the elevator industry in general. And then also growing up as a kid, and I think Brooke and Brandy could relate. I used to go to a lot of these elevator conventions with my dad. He would bring us along. So we would work some of the trade shows as kids. And I used to really dislike it. And now I appreciate it looking back because I was able to kind of learn back then some of the people skills now and how to talk to people, about the industry. And it just it was nice that he had us do that at a younger age, because again, I could appreciate that now, and it's kind of molded me into who I am today, which is great.
I know I talked to all three of you at a trade show that I saw you at. I had seen you previously at other shows, but I was kind of kitty corner from where you were at. And I was watching all three of you interact prior to coming up and introduce myself to you. And you're pros. I mean, you are pros. There's no doubt about it. You represent your company fantastic. and
Thank
you're
you.
definitely an industry presence with the content that you're talking about in a professional manner, and just being, overall friendly, approachable, and I kind of got all those boxes checked. So I appreciate you all and giving us an update on what you've seen on the front lines. Okay, Kelly, you go. I kind of filibustered here.
Well, I think it's great. And kudos to your parents. Mom was going to be here, but unfortunately there's a dog issue in the family, which I've had several friends that have had dog issues lately. And we already went through it with our little Angel. So I swear they're just like they're humans, and so important. And that's the only reason why Mom gets a pass for not being here today, but we're looking forward to having her. And a lot to compliment her. So a couple of things. So first of all, what was it, about a month ago? I ran over to the mall on a Sunday afternoon, and I had to go grab something over at TJ Maxx. And who do I see but the entire family? And it was
Oh, that's
hysterical.
awesome.
But having 5 sisters myself and 3 brothers, very beautiful family. Y'all were a little disheveled. I was
The Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And I was smart enough, because I'm known as the selfie king of South Florida, and I so badly wanted to go, hey, let's get a picture of us at TJ Maxx, but my inner wisdom said don't. And was that wise or what?
That was very wise, because we probably all would have been like, absolutely not.
I would have blocked you.
Yeah, I knew it was just funny. And so a couple things. So first of all, so Brandi, you're Brooke's younger sister. There's no getting around it. So how is that? You've got an extra dynamic that Brooke doesn't have to go through, because she's the pioneer of your 4th generation in the business. Then you roll in. Tell us the skinny. How's she treating you? Is she nice?
Well, I'll start with saying very big shoes to fill. So I'll compliment Brooke on that. And when my dad and I had conversations about me coming down to South Florida, it was rocky at first to say. Brooke is very bold and very driven, but at the same time, she does have a big heart, and she has taken me under her wing and, showed me all the ropes. Like I said, I came from medical. The only thing I knew about elevators was that my great grandpa, my grandpa, and my dad were all in elevators when I came out here. So Brooke and Megan, even too, have just been so helpful with teaching me everything and showing me the ropes. And obviously, being Brooke's younger sister, I think definitely people look at it that way, but I view it as, have that extra help and support. And we do push off each other to make each other better. And I know that'll help us out in the long run for sure.
I swear. Well scripted. No, I'm just kidding. That's very sincere.
I'm reading it off my phone.
I paid her to say that, Kelly.
Because I know a lot of family businesses, and it's, and you see everything. You see some of them that are just a spoiled little jerk that shows up and says, hey, I'm my family started this company, so I'm in charge. And then you have other ones, and not just because you guys are on the show, but your parent, I love the fact, that your parents said, hey, if you're going to work for this company, you got to go do other stuff first. I was in the car business years ago, and that's how a lot of car dealers did. You had to go work for somebody else. And I watched some of them roll in as jerks, and I saw some of them roll in and really learn the business. And Megan, I love the fact that you were talking about how, you're ordering parts and doing the accounting aspect in business development to be very effective. And as being the oldest business developer on the show, you got to know more than just business development. You need to know the nooks and crannies. And I love the fact that you guys, elevators, other than the fact that, you push the buttons and, use us because I'm pretty, there's a big difference. That's how Wayne, every roofing job and everything he's done with the clip, it's all been off his looks. And I like to see that you guys are actually taking down and actually,
so I
value.
got a question for all 3 of the ladies. So I have a second act, a company that produces a siding clip, stainless steel siding clip for siding installation, and it's our second year out on the market, and I'm basically wanting to build it for my son. My son is a junior in college, and he's going to intern for us. And a lot of conversations that we've had when he's watched me build this company along with my partners is, I told him, you're going to have to earn your way into the company. Nothing is given to anybody. I know a lot of families, they want to give something to their kids. And as a Cavinder family, perhaps your mom and dad are no exception. What advice would you be able to give to me as I'm going to be bringing in my son and transition him over to our company when he graduates in 2 years? So anybody, Brandi, Brooke, Megan, field that question, or all three of you. Tell me what I should do and look for.
I'll say that, like, kind of like how my dad did, bringing him in obviously at a entry-level position. So I was brought in as an entry-level sales rep. I was paid the same, if not less, than an entry, what everybody else was getting paid. We don't get paid more. We don't get, any extra PTO. Like, I was treated exactly like a normal entry-level sales rep was. And I also was not allowed to report to my mom or dad. So I reported to another manager in the company, and I was not allowed to go around that manager. Granted, that's very hard at times. And when I first started, me and my dad got into some pretty bad head-on-head, agreements with different things. But
Right.
having him report to someone that's not you, because reporting to you, it's really hard to talk to my dad, but then like take that away and talk to my boss, like act as a boss to him. So having him report to someone else, as much as I hated that, I would say that helped me a ton, because working in a family, at the end of the day, he's your son, so it's going to be a different conversation than him talking to a manager at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's, sorry to interrupt you, but that what you just said right now is going to help me greatly as far as not having my son report to me, reporting to somebody else, because I have told my son, and he knows this, is I'm a very, very different person, obviously, when I'm in the business world than I am as being a parent. So, Brandi and Megan, tell me how you would also answer that, or give me some advice, just like Brooke did.
Yeah, I think for me, when I had made the decision that I actually wanted to be in the elevator industry, my dad never really forced me into the industry, which I
Right.
appreciate. It was something that I saw him do and admired him, and then said, oh, this is something that I think I could be interested in, possibly taking his company over one day. And to be honest, that's actually not the route that I want to go. After I worked for my dad for some time, he actually had me work for another elevator company before I had worked with Southwest. And then when I had came over to Southwest, their background is very similar to mine. I like the family dynamic. I like that, when I come to work every day, it feels like it's, everyone that I work with, it feels like extended family. But that being said, he kind of pushed me to go work for other companies, and really not him, pretty much right off the bat. In a way, he had me do some things for him when I was in college, like I had mentioned, but he kind of wanted me to get my own experience elsewhere before going back to him, if that's what I do decide to do, 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line. So that's kind of a nice way to kind of build your own identity, I think, in an industry too. And again, my dad is actually up in New Jersey and I'm here in Florida. So it's really nice to kind of build my own relationships too, in a completely different state, different market, and kind of compare notes sometimes where, I can ask him, how's business going up in Jersey, and what are the things that you kind of see? And then, I share some of the things that, we are faced with down here. So it's also a great way to learn from each other and work together, even though you're really not working for the same company. So that's another way to of kind of, again, building a little bit of your own identity and your own relationships and your own experience.
So let's say
That's
it's
a great answer.
2028 and you announce that the family company's opening up a division in South Florida. How's that going to go?
My dad will never do that.
Oh, there's your answer,
He's
dude.
in,
I was
he's in
talking
New
about Megan
Jersey and
doing that. I
he's,
wasn't talking about your dad doing it. You're the one that's going to be
oh,
expanding
for me,
new business down
to
here.
be honest,
And then you're going to be in direct competition.
I don't think so. To be honest, they treat me pretty good here. I'm very happy here. So another thing too, and I'd like to give Brandi some time to touch on this, but you know, something that was very attractive to me was working with Brooke and Brandi. When I had met Brooke, we were two younger females in the elevator industry, and you don't really find that. It's a very male dominated industry. So something that was, again, very attractive to me is the fact that I'm going to be working side by side with another female who's my age, who has a very similar background, and she could help me. I can help her. There's a lot of things that she knew that I don't know. There's a lot that I was able to help Brooke with, and Brandi as well. So I think that's something, you know, a lot of times I think women like to compete sometimes, and we're not competitive against each other. We're very supportive of each other, which is really nice. So I wouldn't step on their toes at all, opening something down in Florida.
Listen, as an owner's rep, we encourage, we want good competition. There's a lot of business out there, and I would rather, Mike Poe and I are friends, and I mean, we have a great relationship, but we're going after the same business. But I want him to do a great job. I want his business to flourish, and I want Colliers and these other companies, Amacon, to do well, because all ships rise, from the tide. So if you have good elevator companies down here, and there's more and more, I think it just makes the whole industry better. So it really isn't a bad thing. So we'll stay tuned. On the 250th episode, we'll have you guys on, maybe as friendly competitors.
The elevator gals can't split. We're the elevator gals.
Elevator gals don't split.
We'll never split.
We don't.
So elevator gals, one thing that is, I'm going to involve my son in a family-owned business, which both you are with your mother and father, is it's always that aspiration for the siblings to take the company to another level that mom and dad were not able to do. I already know that our product is going to be accepted not only domestically, but also internationally. And that's kind of the focus that I would like my son to be on when he joins us. So Brooke and Brandi, what are you going to do in the future that your mom and dad are not doing right now?
Ooh.
I'll start, Brandi, really quick. And then you can bounce off this, because I think you're probably going to say the same thing. So when I started, obviously, because we are Gen Z or whatever, millennials, social media is going to be the next big thing. It is already the big next thing. So if you're not doing marketing on a social media level, you're behind, personally, in my opinion. So my parents are not big social media people at all. I think they have Facebook maybe. So what I've been doing is I got us in with a marketing agency. So they're doing SEO for us, Google Analytics, redoing all of our websites. So we, all of our ads and all of that. None of that was being done. So that's kind of the first step I took as far as a social media approach, as well as I took over the LinkedIn, which, I mean, I'm sure, as most people have seen, we drive a lot of content out on our LinkedIn, which
I told you that when I met you. The first thing I said to you is, I enjoy your LinkedIn presence. You remember that? I told you that.
Yeah, so really pushing LinkedIn. We've gained a lot of followers, which, again, people might say, oh, followers, this and that. It really does. Now that we walk into events and stuff, people recognize us. Exactly, Wayne, you recognized us. And that's what the big thing is. You want your company to be branded. It might not be pulling in property managers, signing deals, but as far as everybody getting our name out there, that's kind of what I'm pushing for on a marketing level. And I'll let Brandi touch probably more on that, but that's kind of our next target that they weren't doing.
Do you think I should get a LinkedIn account?
You have a LinkedIn, Kelly. You're the
So
star of LinkedIn.
Right.
I love
Brandi.
LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn like it's Facebook, but it's I'm not an SEO guy, but our business is different. I don't need to go out and get tons and tons and tons of clients.
Yeah.
But I
Brandi,
love
Brandi, I want you to touch a little bit on this, because this is something that both of our companies are involved in, is women empowering women in development. The co-creator of the siding clip that I'm talking about that we have brought to market is a woman, and she's got an incredible story to tell, and she's going to be telling it through our association with Women Empowering Women in Development. Brandi, tell us a little bit about what your involvement in that group has meant, as far as, kind of what Brooke talked about, as far as market placement and just being supportive of strong women in the industry.
Well, I would say especially in male dominant, careers, women's presence definitely is known if you walk into an event. And so going off of that, it's just, there's so many mean girls in the world, and I think supporting women, I mean, it's true though. It sounds like cheesy, but it's true. And I was never a jealous person or competitive. Kind of like we said, we want everyone to win.
Yep.
There's plenty to eat down in South Florida for everybody, kind of going off with what Kelly said, competition just drives each other stronger and stronger. But as far as like women, I would say, to me, being a young girl with, you're driven, you want to have a successful career path, seeing other women succeed did nothing but drive me.
Absolutely.
Being a younger sister, I see Brooke, and she's really got down here, created her own path, she's doing well for herself. That just drives me more. So being in, women powered groups, that's all it does for me, is it just makes you want to succeed more and be the best version of yourself, so that you can one day get to that level of everyone else.
do you have sisters that are in social media?
Maybe. I'm just kidding. I do. And so that's what's also funny, with Brooke and I, with marketing and stuff, with our little sisters who have completely created their own brand and success off social media, it just shows how much social media does nowadays. And everyone in our generation does everything from their phone. So now you have LinkedIn, which is like the most powerful networking tool, I swear, ever.
Yep.
And it just shows how much it can do for you, just being on social media, being active. I mean, it's like it says, it sounds stupid at some points, but that's the world we live in now. And so just capitalizing off those opportunities.
I knew over 20 years ago, well before social media ever became the marketing tool that it is right now, especially with LinkedIn, is that the most important thing that I wanted to create with my day job, American Building Contractors, is I call it the halo effect. Anytime anybody has a conversation with anybody wearing an American Building Contractor shirt and is a representative of the company, has to be positive, because that's how you're going to be remembered. Okay. So kind of to your point about when you go to places, you pop something up on LinkedIn right away, you're showing interaction. You're doing all of these things to keep the halo effect for Southwest Elevator going in association with the family, because you sell a service and a product. I do too. And then with my clip, I sell a commodity. But what's the story behind that? And that's the reason why we had you on today, is there's a story behind Southwest Elevator. They're not buying an elevator or a service contract or whatever. They're buying the family. And I think that's really powerful. That's a very powerful message to show what's behind Southwest Elevator. Would you agree, Brandi?
Yes, I agree. And, going off behind that, when you have a family owned company, I feel that when we sell maintenance and we have these, property managers and stuff, we project that onto them, and you truly get a different level of care than, other places where they're super big and all that.
Okay, so you're projecting. You got a family here that's going to take care of you. You don't have an 800 number. You don't have a bunch of people running around in trucks doing this, that, or the other thing. There's a group of people that's a family that's behind it. Are you in to me, that's a big message that you represent out in the marketplace, correct?
Yes, I would agree. Brooke may be able to touch on that more. But from what I've seen, that's what we try to project.
Yeah, what do you think, Brooke?
Megan's not family, but she's still family. So
no, Megan too.
Megan is
our sibling.
Yeah.
I'm just the brunette stepsister.
Yeah.
Sorry to leave you out, Megan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Megan's our
hey,
stepsister.
listen, Brooke's a brunette too, so don't let it
I am not, are my roots showing, Kelly? Is that why you're saying that? Because I will be at the
Never mind,
hairstylist
look.
later.
You see I need to get another coloring.
That's funny.
That's
But yeah, wait. Obviously, like having the family owned and operated thing, especially in the elevator world, especially down here, like it's not the best industry, to be completely honest. A lot of people have been taken control of and advantage of these boards and condos and whatnot. They like fear elevator companies. So when you come in there and you're like, we get it, we're a family owned and operated company. We also come from the good old Texas state, so we come with a little bit of like a different mindset, I would say. They we just have to preach that we are here to take care of them. They see Brandi, they see, there you go, Kelly, thank you
Way from Texas.
getting into character. Yeah. But just preaching that, people really do respect that. Like you said, 800 number, we don't believe in those. They have my cell phone, they have Megan's cell phone, they have my dad's cell phone. So we really preach, you can get a hold of me, Brandi, or Megan, who are just, the little sales reps, or if you need to call the CEO, like he will give you his cell phone. And I think people really respect that. They're like, you know what, I can talk to the CEO, where at a big company, I'm going to call an 800 number and get thrown around the ringer because the account manager's been fired and removed and replaced 15 times.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah, that's what we sell.
Yeah, but I got to touch on that, Brooke. So you're going to face, perhaps during the growth of your company and the tenure that you're there as you build Southwest Elevator, it's called the growth trap. Okay, you're going to be at a point where if you choose to be any bigger than you are, that family dynamic in the feeling that you all have is being one against the world, unfortunately that's probably going to go away to some certain degree. Okay, so the biggest question that you're going to face is if you choose to make that, let's just call it a national leap, to get out to continue to expand around the country. I don't know if you're going to do that or not, but if you are, there's going to be decisions you're going to have to make that are going to greatly affect the way you do business right now and the way you will in the future. Have you looked into the future far enough to see if that's something you might want to take on, or is it kind of one quarter at a time?
I would say it's one quarter at a time. I mean, right now we are decently sized. We're in, South Florida, Orlando, Nevada, Houston, Dallas, and Austin. So we're
Okay.
definitely expanded, right? I will say my dad has done a really great job of making sure, first off, we hire before we grow. So we're gonna have people in place to take care of you before we even get there.
Awesome.
And I think that's a great tactic that if me and Brandi, Megan, we take on this company one day and keep growing it like it should, I will definitely keep that in place, is always make sure you have people available. You don't ever want someone to be bogged down where they can't get to a customer because they have so much work. Like, we're not about that. And then quickly, this is kind of just elevator, but with our mechanics, we stack them so that they have, like, let's say 70 to 80 elevators on their route. And we do that where other companies are putting 150, 200 elevators. So we make sure to stack mechanics based on how many elevators we have coming in so they can actually maintain what they have, if that makes sense. So
No, it does. Yeah.
yeah, we have a few things in place to make sure that family, even if we are growing rapidly, we still have that family feel. We have kind of a game plan, so to say, in place.
Controlled
Good.
growth.
Controlled growth.
growth.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the
Right.
mantra, right? Controlled
Yeah.
growth.
We like
for
to
sure.
call it scaling.
Scale. Yeah, there you go.
Well,
Yeah.
and we had the same issues in our business. We're taking on more business, so we're making sure that we're bringing people through our system of how we do it, so we can always take on more business properly. And we don't want it to grow too quick because, you don't want to have people. When you work so hard, and both families have worked so hard to develop a reputation, and you can lose it so quick if you don't scale properly. But I'm just, we're past time. So anyway, but I'm sure there's still a couple things we're probably gonna hit on. It's because I'm the old guy in the room at 61. I've got an amazing daughter that will never join our business. Madison Kuhn, look her up at Barnes & Noble or on Amazon.com for her poetry. Got to give her a little plug. Not that she needs it. But if you want to read some great poetry. But I've got friends that are generational. The Orndorfs are some of my best friends, Packy and Greg. And they were part of a family business and were very good at it. And then I know other people that I won't mention their names that the nepotism was terrible for them. And I love that with all three of you and both your families, your parents thought enough about you to make sure they brought you through properly. And y'all are shining examples of next generations. And, you know, that needs to be complimented and recognized. You know, some people see y'all at an event and they go, oh, look at the nice, pretty girls. These pretty girls know their stuff. And that's the part I like. You guys you're passionate about elevators. I mean, someone has to be, but you're not just sitting there going, oh, let's, you know, take a look at it. Let's give it a shot. You guys, y'all are a great testament to 20 somethings, because unfortunately we see too many of them that make us, you know, cringe and can't sleep at night.
I think that's probably a good place to do the hard stop on it. And I just want to thank Brooke Brandi and Megan, and to give a shout out to your mom, Kate, about the great job that you have done providing a venue for continued growth. And, you know, all the best to you. And thank you for everything you do as far as out in the marketplace, and, you know, kind of making the industry that we all reside in just a better place. And appreciate y'all coming on.
We look
Thanks for
forward to
having
watching
us.
you grow, and I can't wait to see when you two become friendly competitors. This is Megan's.
That won't happen.
That won't happen, Kelly.
Brandi and Megan against Brooke and the rest. I mean, it's stay tuned.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe it'll be
This
Brandi
is
and
a story in the
Megan.
making.
No,
Yeah,
I am
Megan,
loyal.
give it.
I am loyal.
Yeah. We have
The trio rides.
The trio rides, yeah.
Man, this may turn into a reality TV show. This is great.
Selling South Florida.
Selling South Florida, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you all, and have a
Thank
great
And then I
day.
also want to
guys.
say congratulations. Not one person made a joke about elevators the entire time, which kudos.
It's got its ups and downs.
There we go.
There you go.
Ending
There,
strong.
see? Oh, we
Ending
almost
strong.
made it. Oh, and it wasn't me, so thank you for that. So everybody have a great day. We're looking forward to watching you guys grow and prosper, and you know, we're grateful to have you guys in South Florida too. So
Thank you,
good
guys.
choice where y'all chose. You
Thank
guys
you.
have a great
Bye,
day.
guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank
Have
you,
a good one.
guys.